And welcome into the Monday edition, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. Hope everybody had a fabulous weekend and that your Monday is off to an excellent start. Boy, do we got a lot to get into today. The Tennessee Titans have won a football game, and this time it wasn't completely handed to them by the other team. They win 31-29 in Cleveland. We're going to get all into that throughout the show here today on the program. The college football playoff bracket is out. I got a whole lot of thoughts on that, as I'm sure Rexrode does as well. We will get into that a little bit later in the program. Take your thoughts throughout the show at 615-737-1025. By the way, broadcasting live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Joe Rexrode, happy Monday morning. How we doing?
Doing okay. A victory Monday, is that what they call it? Victory Monday? Right?
That's what I hear it's called. Haven't had too many of those.
That's what this is, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of a new experience on the show. Don't remember what these are like.
But it's, of course, a victory Monday for you and your Green Bay Packers, too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I kind of knew that was coming. But, yeah, it sure is. Good stuff from the Bears. They made it close last night, so a nice close loss. I look forward to discussing it with Cory Curtis a little bit later in the show. I'm sure he's fired up about it.
Yeah, and you are thumbs up on LaFleur now? All good? Everything good?
Answer's the same. Let me know in January. So only thing that matters with this squad is January and then February. But we'll see.
But it is better to be in first place than to not be in first place, which is the change today from yesterday.
That is correct. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Ian Safar, how we doing? What's going on?
Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. And yeah, take the under and you can shove it up your pie hole.
Yeah. No kidding. Good grief.
Well, I guess toast almost at halftime.
I guess that's probably where we should start. In the grand scheme of things, guys, I don't know that I'm shocked that the Titans beat the Cleveland Browns, right? Like, it's the Cleveland Browns. They're 3-10. It's not like they're any good. But they do have a great defense. They're a top 5 defense in the NFL by the numbers coming into the game. And the fact that, Joe, not only they won the game, but they scored more than 30 points, and they basically shut down Myles Garrett, basically, right? Like, I mean, he was pretty much a non-factor in the game. He had 1 sack in the game. I'm stunned by that. I really am. Like, the combination of scoring as many points as they did against Cleveland and the fact that Myles Garrett just didn't totally take over the game at some point, which he never really did. I mean, they did a really good job against him. I'm floored that the game played out that way.
Well, yeah, they scored all those points. They held Myles Garrett in check. He had 1 pressure, I believe. He had 1 sack, but it was also his 1 pressure. Their offensive line, graded out great, and their quarterback actually didn't play that well, really, for the most part, and they scored 31.
Yeah.
So I don't really – this is a great example of, sometimes things just don't add up.
Yeah. I mean, Cam Ward, to your point, was 14 of 28, which is not good, for 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, quarterback rating of 70.1. The guy on the other side, by the way, 23 of 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, a pick, quarterback rating of 97.7. We're going to get into the Cam Shador stuff a little bit later in the show. But again, if you would have told me those are what the numbers were going to be for Cam Ward before the game, I would have said, well, yeah, that sounds about right, going up against the Cleveland defense. And yet, for the first time all year, Joe, they ran the ball well. I mean, Pollard looked like a blast from the past yesterday. 25 carries, 161 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Career game for him out of absolutely nowhere. So, I guess, if you're going to have – you get into December and you have 2 bad teams that are playing the string out, I guess expect the unexpected is fair. But, yeah, I mean, especially the Myles Garrett part of it, the lack of impact. And, again, really good game plan. Like, they just ran at him all day. I mean, this is what – I don't watch a ton of Cleveland Browns football, and I will continue to not watch a ton of Cleveland Browns football. But That's the obvious thing to do, right? It's like, you know what? Run to him every chance you get, double team, triple team him, try to put him on the grass. I mean, just everything you can do to tire him out and to anything you can do to try to minimize what he is as a pass rusher. So in the meantime, it's like, oh, and by the way, there goes Tony Pollard again, and Spears had a good day too. It's like, I would not have guessed that at all, because again, Cleveland, really all of its problems, or most of its problems, have been offensively, but the Titans looked like the team that I thought maybe they could have been this year, but they just haven't been at all. Like a power team that sets the tone with that and then plays off that. It's the first time we've seen it.
Well, to your point, like the offensive line deserves a ton of credit, because look, we've gotten all over the offensive line. They've not been good for the most part this year, but they handled things really well yesterday. And I'll say this, and I know this may give, Kuharski an allergic reaction, but like, I thought it was a pretty good game plan by Mike McCoy and by Bo Hardigree. Like you said, I mean, they ran right at Myles Garrett. They didn't allow him to really get going in terms of his pass rush. They did a good enough job of kind of staying in front of the sticks where they didn't end up in a ton of like 3rd and 12s, which, as you know, against that defense and that pass rusher, could end up an absolute disaster. And I just thought, basically from start to finish in the game, it was really good job offensively of just not letting them get destroyed out there by Myles Garrett. Like, I think everybody expected that Myles Garrett was going to break the single season sack record in this game. It's all people were talking about heading into the game. And the fact that he only had 1 sack and really wasn't a factor in the game was kind of amazing.
Yeah. Or at least make it interesting in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Mandor was shut. Shut the door.
That door was locked. It wasn't moving anywhere. No, he's hurt a little bit, but it's all right. He got back in there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, maybe, he was like, hey, you guys, he's been fiending to get back to blocking Myles Garrett all year. It's just, he needed more of a challenge or something. I have no idea, but yeah, I think we set the over-under at 2.5 Friday, which, again, that's a ridiculous over-under for any one player in one game when it comes to sacks. But meanwhile, Jeff Simmons was more of a game wrecker than Myles Garrett was in this game.
Yeah, Simmons with a sack and a half in the game yesterday, 3 quarterback hits in the game. He was kind of all over the place, playing really well. Xavier Woods with a big interception in the game. And by the way, an interception that the Titans then turned into a touchdown after that, Joe, which, number one, they've not created a ton of turnovers this year. And when they have, they certainly haven't capitalized on a ton of those. But that was a big moment in the game, too. Not only, it was a horrible decision by Sanders to throw the ball on that play. One of the few really bad decisions that he made all day long. But for the Titans to get the pick and then to turn around to score on it with Pollard was huge in the game.
Yeah, and that was probably the turning point. I actually remember thinking to myself right before that, like, oh gosh, I don't want to come on the radio tomorrow and sit here and talk about how great Shedeur was and how he outplayed Cam, but man, he is outplaying Cam so dramatically this game. And then, like, right then is when he just, I have no idea why, just threw that ball into all kinds of traffic. And I think that was the turning point of the game. At that point, I think if they don't, if they keep going the way they're going, I think they were on their way to beating the Titans, but that was the big moment. So to me, and like you said, so rare to see the Titans force one and then also actually score a touchdown off it, which of course then we'll see how many people are mad today that the Titans now don't have the number 1 pick.
They do not. That honor currently belongs to the New York Giants. So congratulations to the Giants for the Week 14 update of what the number 1 pick looks like at the moment. Still an opportunity for the Titans to end up there. But, as we'll talk about a little bit later in the show, isn't it kind of fun to win a game every now and then? Isn't it kind of good for some of your young players, your young quarterback, your young receivers, those guys to experience a little bit of winning yesterday? Isn't that kind of fun, Joe? No? Am I off base there?
Well, I think it is for them. Absolutely. It's got to be like for the people actually doing this stuff. Without question. for fans. I mean, again, it's I get it.
I get it. No, I understand.
I get it. I do, because it's like, like if the Titans go 4-13 next year, and if I'm a Titans fan, I'm gonna be like, oh well, so glad we got the 1 win last year, so we could get 4 this year. That's great, yay! So I mean, it's like you hope to get good at some point. Will this win be the thing that tilts it for you? I do think I get it. It's good to win. It's good to learn to win and all that stuff. But also, like, you really, really need to get a lot better. And obviously that would be something that could potentially accelerate it. So I'm not like Kaharski and mad at fans for wanting that to happen.
We are off.
I want winners.
Yes. We are off and running today here on Robby and Rexrode. The Titans win a game that crossed the 30-point threshold. And this was a game that they won that the other team didn't fumble at the goal line. Good to see from the Tennessee Titans. We'll take your thoughts on that. What did we make of the Titans on the offensive side of the ball yesterday? We will get hot and heavy into that. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game.
It feels good to win, but winning still hot stuff. It's a lot of flaws that we got to continue to get over personally, then just as a team, and we just got to come next week with the right mindset.
That's Cam Ward Titans win yesterday, 31-29 against the Cleveland Browns. Now 2-11 on the season. Taking your thoughts at 615-737-1025, our phone number. Joe, still, I guess the most stunning part of yesterday's game, beyond the combination of a 30-point output and a win for the Tennessee Titans, is how well they ran the football. You're talking about Pollard had a 65-yard touchdown in the first quarter. He had a 32-yard touchdown after that interception by Xavier Woods that we talked about. And they just look like a team that was actually really good at running the ball when they have not approached looking like that all year long. It was amazing that that's what they were able to do. Pollard with 25 carries on the day, 161 yards, a 6.4-yard average. And, multiple people have pointed this out on the text line, Joe. Levin in there doing a job at center. Some guys that we've gotten all over, and Dan Moore and J.C. Latham. And a lot of that's come in pass protection, but the Titans ran the ball really all day long in the game yesterday. And maybe more than anything, Joe, stuck with it. I mean, I'd have to look. I'd be shocked if they've run the ball 35 times in a game at any point this year to this point.
Yeah, again, like I thought this might be something that this team could do, and just hasn't worked out that way. It just kind of out of nowhere. Like Tony Pollard having a touchdown run like that is completely out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I don't know that he's
good for
approached
him.
Like a 20-yarder with any sort of regularity, much less a 65-yarder. He's about 30 yards down the field in that play, Joe, and I was like, oh my God, he's still going. And like no one's catching him. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, like, I don't know. I guess if you're the Browns, like, again, I haven't watched them. They have good defensive numbers. They have they have the best player, but they have other good talent for sure. Grant Delpit's a good player, and Cam Ward threw him to the ground like a child on a particular play, just to avoid a sack and get rid of the ball. But yeah, I mean, that was good for Pollard. It's been kind of a tough season, kind of one of those seasons where, as we've talked about, it's like, it's probably kind of coming to an end there, and they need to get a lot better there. But in this particular game, he was fantastic. So this is kind of to me, again, a glimpse of what I thought might have been the way to best support Cam Ward, have a running game like that. And the offensive line should be built for more of that. But yeah, Levin, that's a good point. I mean, Levin has just been one of those guys, just been, he's hung around, and he's been here, he's been other places, he's been, backup center, but he's done a pretty good job, there at center. Moore was good yesterday. I mean, really across the board. I haven't seen the cherished PFF rankings, but I mean, overall, I would have to think they'd be pretty good.
That door was jammed yesterday. Nobody's moving it. Nobody's moving that man door yesterday.
The steel door. Just slam it shut, man.
Well, and it's funny because they ran the ball so effectively, and yet they only threw. I mean, Cam Ward had 117 yards passing, which, in the NFL, if you're throwing for 117 yards in a game, you're probably not winning very many of those games. It's just flat out the way it is. It's not impossible, obviously, but you're not winning very many games when you're only putting up 117 yards of passing offense, and you're certainly not scoring 30 points very many times when you're only putting up 117 yards of passing offense. So, like, as you heard from Ward in that clip as we came back from break, it certainly wasn't perfect, and there were some plays that he made, some throws that he had in this game, Joe, still, where he just missed on them. And there's an interception he had. I knew that he was screwed on the interception, by the way, when the broadcast put up the graphic of that was the longest active streak in the NFL without throwing a pick. I was like, well, they just bought him one here in a couple minutes, and sure enough, I think it was like 2 drives later where he did it. So I knew that he was in trouble on that point. But you got the running game looking really good yesterday, and the passing game, and he threw a couple of touchdown passes. But, Joe, other than that, it really wasn't a very good day for the passing attack.
No, I mean, it was good to see, to have the 2 rookies both get the TDs,
yes.
And those were good plays. So you did have that. I mean, look, when it comes down to it, would you rather have a bunch of empty calories and big numbers and then continue to not do anything in the red zone or actually, finish drives with touchdowns, however you get there,
right, in
the red zone, right? I mean, that's how you win. Like, that's more important when it comes to winning. So that should be noted, right? Like, that's not insignificant. But yeah, I mean, overall, there wasn't a lot there, in the passing game. Chig, had a really good catch, at one point.
Yep.
I mean, they had some moments, but yeah, they didn't need it, man. 31 points.
That's right. Well, and they finally, they've had a couple of different times this year where they, on their opening drive, have put together a good looking drive, and then they've gotten into, field goal range and stalled out. And this time they finished it. Like, it was the first time all year they were finally the last team in the NFL to actually cash in and score a touchdown on their opening drive. So it was good to see them like come out, and it was kind of shocking to see them come out against Cleveland, against that defense, and that to be the team where you finally are able to put together an opening drive that ends up in the end zone.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that set the tone right from there. And I was like, okay, great. Wow. Well, then maybe they'll get close to the over-under today. The ridiculously, like, someone told me this weekend that like 30, they almost never get lower than 35. Like, that's kind of like, if it's a really bad, offensive matchup, like 35 is still kind of the floor.
Yeah.
For Vegas. And of course, what was this? 33.5, right?
33 I think so. 33.5.
Yeah. 33.5.
That's a tough one.
Which, again, like, I get it. I mean, that's exactly the kind of game that we thought, we should have expected to have. But yeah, that opening drive kind of set the tone for them. And now it was a really good drive. And, recent bad Titans teams, like in fact, I think it was it last year's team? They had a few, right? I think maybe Vrabel's last team, they had a lot of like the scripted drive would do really well, and then everything would just completely fall apart, right?
Yeah.
This team, that first drive has just been bad. Just sets the tone. But yesterday it looked really good. So Mike McCoy got to give a rousing victory speech in the locker room.
I hope he invited Kowarski in the locker room to witness it all. I hope that was a big breakthrough moment for them yesterday.
Did you see it?
No, I haven't looked at it yet.
They showed it. They showed it on I don't know, one of the post games.
Okay.
They showed it. Yeah, it was something. He said stuff.
Let's head back to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Adam in Portland to the program. Adam, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, man. So, yeah, yesterday was my birthday. I had my brother over with me. We watched it. And so that's why I figured the Titans won, man, just to give me a little something for the year after being miserable for a whole year. Look, this is what it kind of dawned on me yesterday, man. Number one, Derrick Henry used to do that every week, except for like 20 more yards, which is crazy to think about, like what an animal that guy is. Like, it still dawns on me how good he is. But the Titans back in the day, I can remember being super frustrated that they would never throw the ball down the field, that Steve would have like 120, 150-yard games all the time, but we would win 13 games. So I don't know. You can't play the Browns every week. I know that's got a lot to do with this. I'm just going to ride the wave of high, but we have to fix the run game. Like, it's not even an option if we're going to get good again. But it was a good day yesterday.
Happy birthday, Adam. Appreciate the call.
Thanks,
yep. I mean, he is right. I mean, that's, the Titans for a long time have had the formula, whether it was with Derrick Henry, whether it was with Eddie George, Chris Johnson, have run the ball really well and win. But I guess that's what continues to make yesterday so shocking, because Tony Pollard showed zero sign of that all year. And then all of a sudden he looks like a really good player again yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about. Again, good for him to have a day like that. Good for him. It really has not, like, it just hasn't been there at all this year. Seriously, it was like going back in time there. He looked good last year, and it was a good pickup, and it just hasn't been good this year. And all of a sudden he's just out there, they can't tackle him. I have no idea. I mean, like, you have to think some of it is the Browns. I don't want to not give him credit, for having a huge day, having a career day, kind of out of nowhere, but like also, yeah, like really bad opponent in December. Everybody's kind of, playing out the string, probably a little bit of it, but it also, I don't know. I mean, it wasn't to me like it was like a lot of missed tackles necessarily. I mean, he looked good, but yeah, like the long TD run, it's like, how does nobody on that defense catch him?
Yeah, I have no idea. It's continuing to be the most shocking part of yesterday was he looked like a great running back, which has not happened at all so far this year. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Titans win 31-29 in Cleveland. Win number 2 on the season for the Titans. We'll take your thoughts on that. A lot of your thoughts to get to on the text line. Keep them coming. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 the game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 1025 the game. Titans win. And it's a Monday. We hadn't been able to say that very much over the last few years. But it happened. Titans win 31-29 against the Cleveland Browns. Taking your thoughts on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, on the YouTube chat as well. K-Dot on the YouTube chat pointing out says, I'm glad Jarvis Brownlee wasn't there. He would have frozen yesterday. Guy that brings back good memories of. Hey, nobody else has the guts to say what I'm going to say right now. But it was cold out there. I'm just going to tell you guys, it's cold.
I will have the courage to say what everyone wants to say. How's he doing with that nice New Jersey weather in December, I wonder?
Probably not loving it. That would be my guess. Probably not loving it.
Jets got blown out by Miami, so they're terrible too.
Did not go well.
Dolphins are actually quietly the hottest team in the NFL, by the way.
They've gotten up to 6 and 7. They're just winning games all the time.
Tied with your Ravens there, Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Chiefs, who are
apparently
not
not
going to make
good.
the playoffs.
Yeah.
Just atrocious. Seriously, Andy Reid, out of his mind, bad coaching last night. I have no idea what in the world he's doing. Were you guys watching that?
Oh, yeah.
Insanity.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 10-all game. His defense is playing great. And let's just go for it at our own, 28. What? In a 10-10 game in the fourth quarter. Let's do it again. What? I mean, unbelievable. They're not going to be in the freaking playoffs.
Good handoff by Travis Kelce on the interception, too.
Yeah.
Good form.
I just saw, yeah. Oh, my goodness. Yeah, 2 drops in a row from him. 1 leads to a pick. Rice, that's a perfect pass from Mahomes. I feel bad for Mahomes, man. I mean, it was not that he was great, but yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah, he'll be okay.
Mike McCoy catching some strays even in a win, Joe. Chase from White Bluff on the text line. I think Mike McCoy sucks. He's an old head. Run. His last 3 possessions almost cost him the game. He acts like he's coaching for his job. Put the ball in your quarterback's hand, install some confidence, and let him go for the kill shot. This is from Chase from White Bluff. Mike McCoy catching strays, even in a 31-point output offensively in a win for the Titans.
Yeah, I don't think Mike McCoy, I mean, maybe he thinks differently, but I don't think this is going to lead him to the job. I don't know, man. I mean, you are trying to, I mean, you can say coaching for his job. Everybody in that building, I hope we can all respect, fans. Again, I have no problem fans being dude, we need the number 1 pick. Everybody in that building, especially the players, double middles to the number 1 pick. Here's what I think about the number 1 pick, and that's exactly how they should be.
Yeah. So
good for them. They want to win. You want to win a game. You've been running the ball incredibly well, out of nowhere, running the ball, and you're doing everything you can to win a football game. So he did. He won the football game. So I think you got to give him that credit.
For sure. How about this from Ed on the text line? And it's been brought up a couple of times. It says Pollard is averaging over 6 yards a carry, and the team is averaging just about 5 a carry since Corey Levin took over for Cushenberry. Do you think that's a coincidence? What do you make of that, Joe?
If that's true, that's surprising to me, because yesterday to me seems like a total outlier. I mean, I know they've had a little more success. I think that, I know Pollard had the big day. I think Spears has been a real nice element of the offense here in the last few weeks, right? I mean, and he had some really good moments yesterday. I mean, it's kind of a nice tandem right now, but I mean, maybe Levin. I think Levin's playing well, but I don't. I mean, it certainly takes more than your center, right, to make something like that happen. But you could argue that he's probably played better than Cushenberry this year.
I would say so. I think you can definitely make that case. Wes in Clarksville pointing out that Borgonzi leaves the Chiefs and then they totally collapse. He was the glue that held the Chiefs together for so long. Now they're screwed without him.
Maybe they need L'Jarius Sneed back. Maybe that'll get them together.
Every time Nico Collins made a catch last night, I was like, who? Who's that?
14 for 33 for 160 and 3 picks for Mahomes. My goodness.
Yeah, not very good. Not very good. Skylar says it was such a Titans thing to be winning 31-17 and still almost lose the game. It was interesting to watch. I do have to give Cleveland credit. The 1-2-point conversion, not the one that they fumbled where Shedeur just dropped it, but the one where they tried to reverse with like no quarterback on the field, might have been the worst 2-point conversion attempt I've ever seen, and almost single-handedly, Joe, made me wish that the Titans do not hire Kevin Stefanski to be their head coach.
Yeah, I mean, well, and I understand that this is done, but even going for 2 when they did it, like, just kick the extra point. I hate the down 2 touchdowns, score a touchdown, go for 2 so that you can win it with just kick the extra point.
Analytics, that's what it says. Apparently, I don't know why it says that, but apparently it does.
Well, but still, most of the time teams don't do that.
Yeah,
it's
because every now and then you look at the analytics and you're like, well, that's pretty stupid. Let's not do that.
Yeah, but then I agree because again, this should have been an overtime game, and who the heck wouldn't want more Titans Browns football? We were all robbed of more Titans Browns football, but it should have been a tie game, and yeah, I agree that 2-point conversion was just awful. Like it was some iteration of like the Philly special.
Yeah,
right?
it was special. All right, that was something.
That was the Brown special.
Yeah,
the doo-doo Brown special.
It was real nice. Yeah, I mean, you had Cedric Gray picking up the fumble and then just like totally running out of gas. I thought for sure he's going to score. I thought they were going to pick up another 2 points, and then I guess that he was just exhausted. He pulled up, and that was the end of that.
Yeah, when he did that, I was like, okay, so there must have been a whistle that I didn't hear.
Or did he get hurt? Or what happened?
Yeah, but no, he just stopped. Is that right?
I mean, he had to go back to the bench and get the oxygen mask on. So I don't know. I mean, it's a 50-yard sprint. Maybe the adrenaline just didn't really help him there. He's too amped up.
Yeah, that was 2 points. That would have made the end totally non-dramatic. But nice play still.
Yeah, good stuff. So the quarterback discussion, Ward and Sanders. From a national standpoint, that was going to be the talking point beyond Myles Garrett heading into the game, because you've got the number 1 overall pick. You got the story of the draft and Sanders, who fell to where he did in the draft and ultimately picked by Cleveland. From a numbers standpoint, I mean, wasn't even close yesterday. Sanders, 23 of 42, 364 yards, 3 touchdowns. He had the 1 terrible interception. He also had a rushing touchdown in the game yesterday too. So numbers-wise, it's pretty good stuff for Shedeur Sanders yesterday. Cam Ward, we went through those numbers already, 14 of 28, 117 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Now, I do think you have to keep in mind in this discussion, particularly when you look at where both teams are right now on defense. Cleveland, by the numbers, a top 5 defense in the National Football League heading into this yesterday. Titans are not. Titans are not in the top 5. So you have to keep that in mind. But what did you make of the stark difference in performance from Ward and Sanders yesterday? And do you read anything at all into that when it comes to where Ward is right now?
I don't know. I mean, not necessarily, but I do hope that people who watch that game would agree with me that like Shedeur Sanders can play. I mean, like the numbers are good, but also like some of his throws were ridiculous. I mean, the throw over the top he made to Fannin, who by the way also is going to be a really good player. Harold Fannin, 44 out of Bowling Green.
Yep.
So I watched that game and I said, there you go. I mean, Shedeur Sanders is talented, Yeah, he really needs to stop doing and he did this in college, and this is like Sean Payton 101, I guess, right? Like, I don't want someone who backs up, and at times can take such negative plays. But a couple times he did buy himself time with those and make plays out of it. I don't know that that'll be I guess we compare them. But again, the comparison was going to the draft when people were talking about both of them as the number 1 pick. One of them goes 1 overall. One of them goes in the 5th round.
Yep.
So I suppose if you're a Titans fan who's down on Cam, you say, wow, the guy who went in the 5th round looked better than our number 1 overall pick. But like you said, it's totally different circumstances too. Cam, I mean, the Titans had a good plan. The Titans had a good plan, and they were effective, and they scored a lot of points. And sometimes, you can do that, and maybe your quarterback's numbers don't look great, but the bottom line is you had a winning formula, which we're so not used to seeing from the Titans. And I thought Cam had some good moments. Shador did also have to throw a lot because they were down, especially in the second half of that game.
Yep.
And he got a lot of his yards then. So, but it'll be something people still do. They'll still compare it.
Oh, I
I have
mean,
no doubt.
they've already started this morning on all the national shows of like, did you see the numbers that Shador Sanders put up yesterday in the loss to the Titans? So we'll see what that.
Well, I'll say you talk about Stefanski, and the 2-point try. Apparently, he said yesterday after the game that Dylan Gabriel might start the next game. Now that is fireable. I'm sorry. I'm not saying Shador is going to be great or anything. Shador can play. Shador has talent. He should continue to play. He is better than freaking Dylan Gabriel. And I think that's my biggest thing. It's like, guys, I swear to you, he's better than Dylan Gabriel. I don't he did what he did yesterday. A handful of throws he made yesterday. Those are things that, like, Dylan Gabriel can't do that. I'm sorry. Why would you switch at this point? Just let the kid play out the string and then see whatever that leads to afterward. They're probably still in the market for a quarterback, but no, I mean, I think Shador Sanders is, again, a guy who he's accurate. The ball, when he sees it quickly, and the ball's out, the ball is accurate.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans win against the Browns. What did you make of Cam Ward's performance? What did you make of Shador Sanders? Plus, another development in the NFL yesterday in the AFC South. That is not good for that respective team. We'll get into that. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Titans win 31-29 against the Cleveland Browns. They improved to 2-11. And, Joe, as you said, if you look at tankathon.com right now, Titans are third in the draft order. The Giants at 1, the Raiders at 2, the Titans at number 3.
Yeah, so those two play, which means one of them will get a loss somewhere. So the question is,
or a tie.
Yeah, good tie.
Well, I suppose that's true.
0-0 tie.
Yeah, there you go. But assuming it's not a tie, then you'd need the winner of that game to lose somewhere else. Or I'm sorry, the loser of that game to win somewhere else. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Which is possible.
It is.
They both have some bad teams on their schedule, so all is not lost or won, however you want to look at it.
That is true. One texter, Mike, getting all over, saying it's a good thing y'all were right about Myles Garrett coming through and having 1 million sacks on Cam Ward because the Titans suck so bad. A totally crazy opinion to have coming into that game. That Myles Garrett might get a lot of sacks against the Titans.
Well, by the way, I said Friday he's not going to get the record, so just would like to point that out.
I did not.
I did not think that he would be held to one pressure in this game. That I did not see. But yeah, it's totally like it's stuff like this happens all the time, right? It's like, oh yeah, well, he's gonna go just nuts. He gets stuffed in this game by the Titans, and then he'll play some good team or good left tackle and get 4 sacks in that game.
Mike from Pennsylvania says, it was cool to get a win, but I'm scared long term. Tyler Shuck, Dart, and Sanders have all looked better than Ward has. I get talent around them, but the talent doesn't change off of footwork and wide open misses. Just from Mike from Pennsylvania on the text line saying, hey, a little bit concerned about the Cam Ward part of this when you look at some of these other rookie quarterbacks that have stepped in and at times have played reasonably well.
Yeah, but he has too, right? At times. But yeah, I understand it. You have the direct comparison. I mean, look, again, I do. I think Shedeur is talented. But also I think that neither of them should have been the number 1 pick. So, Titans went with one of them, and he wasn't great yesterday. I didn't think it was like the week before where it was like, man, what happened? The Seattle game was such a good game for Cam Ward, and then he was bad the next week. I didn't think he was bad yesterday. I know the numbers were, but yeah, there were a few throws for sure yesterday that just sailed on him, and that is kind of a consistent thing.
Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, what's up, Robby?
What's up?
How you doing, Uncle Joe? How y'all doing?
What's
man?
up, Mark? Good, man. How you doing?
Hey, I got a couple of things. I'm gonna address the Titans real quick. I thought they played a good game yesterday. Cam's gonna be okay, man. I wish people quit calling in and saying, comparing Cam to this, that, and the other, man. I mean, Cam's gonna be okay, man. Once Cam gets some more playmakers around him, get some more players around him, then we're gonna see what Cam Ward's really all about. I mean, people relax. Get off Cam. Cam's gonna be good. They had a good game yesterday. Joe Myles Garrett's he's gonna crush that record. I'm gonna give him 25. I'm going with 25 sacks for the year with him. So Myles Garrett is gonna do his thing, and Fannon's gonna be, like you said, a great tight end, and Shedeur looked good. But Joe, if y'all remember, as an article came out about a month ago, Stefanski didn't really want Shedeur playing. He really wanted to stick with Gabriel, but he was overruled by the GM Barry and the owner Jimmy Haslam to play Shedeur. Shedeur is going to be okay. Cleveland, don't even go draft another quarterback. You got your quarterback there, right there now. But, Joe, the other week I heard you talking about Lane Kiffin. I know this is kind of off the record. And, Joe, I started to call and rip you about it. But, Joe, I read some articles and read up on some things and got caught up on some things. And, Joe, you were right about everything you were saying about the guy. And, Joe, I could see one day, man, if he doesn't succeed at LSU, they're probably not going to fool with this guy anymore. He's kind of broken the trust with people. He should have stayed right there where he was at. He was competing with everybody. Had a great team at Ole Miss and should have stayed there. And, Robby, I know you're getting ready to talk about Riley Leonard and the coach because Daniel Jones got hurt. If I was there, man, if you can go get Joe Flacco right quick or something to save your season, because you're not going to win with the young rookie Riley Leonard. It's just not going to happen. But hey, man, y'all have a good day. We're going to get on down here. It's cold out here today, so y'all stay warm. We'll holler at y'all later.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mark.
Well, that leads me into the next part of this. Daniel Jones with an Achilles injury, and it's they said in the press conference yesterday it doesn't look good. So he's going to be done for the year. So the Colts have gone from, along with the Patriots, Joe, the darling of the AFC, to now you're looking at a situation where they're losing, and they've lost Daniel Jones, presumably for the season. And you've got Houston that's come back on, Jacksonville continuing to play well at their expense yesterday. And it kind of feels like the Colts are totally screwed now that Daniel Jones is gone down, which, again, think about uttering that sentence before the season started. But it kind of feels like where they are.
No, they're toast. And so obviously the Sauce Gardner acquisition, I mean, it's the whole thing. Like all of a sudden they are in, they're in a world of hurt. I mean, I know no one around here probably wants to have a lot of sympathy for Indianapolis sports fans, but you get the Halliburton thing. That was an Achilles, right?
Yeah.
Where you have a chance to win a championship. You have that, and now you have this a few months later. And it's like, I mean, if you're the Colts, man, I know that he has been playing well. You wonder, like, how much of this was, like, because he was trying to play on, like, the fracture, right?
They're saying it's like a compensation type injury, opposite leg. Yeah, opposite leg. Yeah.
Because if you watch it, like, he's basically just dropping back to throw, and it just pops.
Well, a lot of Achilles injuries are just like that, right? It's just like, it's nothing all that, it doesn't look all that extreme. All of a sudden you grab for the back of your leg, and it's like, and that's why it's called the Achilles, I guess. But man, like if you're the Colts, now you have that long road of recovery for him. I mean, do you believe it? Like, is he your guy? I mean, it's it's a mess. Then you did the big buy to get Sauce Gardner, and I mean, you're gonna not be in the playoffs this year, right? Probably.
I mean, probably not. I mean, it's not even – we hadn't brought up the fact that, the crazy injury to Anthony Richardson earlier this year where he fractured his orbital bone in a band incident before the in warm-ups, which is still one of the craziest things I think I've ever heard. So he's not available at the moment.
Yeah, like this should be at least like it's like, okay, hey, maybe he can come in and, all this time sitting down, all of a sudden, boom, it'll all come together or something, but you don't even have that as an option. So, yeah, brutal. Good times for Jags and Texans fans right now, but all of a sudden the Colts fans, talk about a fall of like ups and downs. My goodness. I'm sorry, Indy Ben and Jordan from Franklin and all of our other Colts listeners.
Justin says, if you're the Colts, go get Ryan Tannehill. Have we reached the point? I think we probably should. I think we've probably reached the point where he's been out of the league long enough where I don't think he's coming back.
Yeah, I would think so. It would be nice if he'd tell people like I'm done. But maybe he's still holding out hope. I don't know. I mean, I don't
I've
think
been waiting on Daniel Jones to be hurt for 2 years now so I can come in and take his job.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, honestly, if he actually is, like in shape, he actually is still like wanting to play. It's not the worst idea, but like I have no clue, man. Haven't heard a peep from that guy in how long?
Yeah, he's probably just kind of chilling, right? Be what I would be doing.
Yeah, just send out an email that you retired.
You could do that.
Yeah,
that could happen. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. More of your thoughts to get to on the Titans 31-29 win in Cleveland. We will get into the college football playoff coming up in the second hour as well. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. We'll be joined by Cory Curtis from News 2 in 1 hour, his weekly visit at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans' 31-29 win against the Cleveland Browns. So taking your thoughts on that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. By the way, our assistant producer, Adam Vingan, has sent this in. Tannehill has actually commented. This is from an article from The Escapist last month, which apparently is a magazine.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, me either. Tannehill said that, quote, of his future playing career, quote, I think that chapter is closed. I think last year, that's where I was at. If the right opportunity came up and was right for our family, staying in shape, staying ready, I had plenty of calls, but nothing ever felt like the right opportunity that I was looking for. That was last NFL season. At this point, I think that ship has sailed for me. Tannehill went on to say, quote, nothing's ever set in stone. I'd have to start throwing again. I stay in shape just because I like staying in shape, and it's part of how I like to live my life. But as far as going out and having throwing sessions, I haven't done that since last year. It'd be a little bit of knocking some rust off to get the arm moving again. So
I don't know about that.
Sounds like
a long shot.
I think Tannehill has kind of closed the door on future NFL football. So we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah, I guess he had a good run.
I guess he did.
But maybe we'll see. Maybe we'll hear like an official prediction at some point.
Maybe so. Maybe we'll see some retirement papers filed at that point.
Did Ian have me muted? Did you have me muted, Ian?
I think so.
I don't think so.
I didn't. You guys didn't hear me?
No.
Did you?
Maybe I did.
Really weird.
Maybe I did.
Okay. Yeah, I think you did. I didn't even know you could do that.
He might do it more often now. Who knows?
Maybe you should do it more often. Yeah, thanks to Adam, assistant to the regional executive producer, Adam, for the news flash. I don't know how we missed that Tannehill closed the door, man.
Probably because the interview was in The Escapist, which is something I've never heard of before. But good for them.
What is that?
I don't know, but that's where it was. It's a magazine, apparently.
The Escapist.
The Escapist. I mean, I like the name.
I'm gonna get the word out here. I'm gonna tell my church bulletin that I'm retiring, and and I'm sure it'll get out there somewhere. But hey, Vingan found it, so I mean, it got to Vingan.
Well, it looks like it's kind of about video games.
Good to know. Big gamer, Ryan Tannehill, in there.
Oh, no wonder he threw those 3 picks. Now it all makes sense.
It all adds up. He went to the Kyler Murray School of Quarterbacking. A lot of video games going on out there. Joe, I mean, we have not run into as many Titans fans to this point that are upset about winning the game yesterday as maybe I thought. We went through the draft order. By the way, still plenty of time for the Titans to end up with 2 wins. And I think, Joe, if they end up with 2 wins, they're going to have a decent chance. Although I will continue to say Raiders pretty bad, man. Raiders are bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I expect the Giants to beat the Raiders, right?
I agree.
So who are the Raiders going to beat? But the thing is, they were right there yesterday.
I know.
Freaking Broncos needed a punt return to beat them. I mean, the Broncos have got to be the most fraudulent 11. And what are they, 11-2 now?
We're going to find out this week. We're going to find out. Packers, Broncos.
Not looking good for the Raiders here. At Philly.
Oh, boy.
At Houston.
Oh, boy.
Home against the Giants. Home against Kansas City.
So they're not going to win another game. Okay.
Well, I mean, I guess the only thing is, like, if Kansas City, is it possible Kansas City's out of it at that point? And, like,
everybody sits.
Mahomes isn't playing. Short of that, yeah.
Well, is Kansas City just going to pull a Notre Dame if they're out of the playoffs, just not show up anymore? We'll get into that in a little bit too.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know. Yeah, you're probably looking at Oakland Raiders #1 pick. So good job, Tom Brady. You're a
Las
genius
Vegas
all along.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I'm saying. The World Raiders.
Yes.
LA Raiders.
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe Brady's playing the whole time. Who knows?
That's right. Just tank away, baby.
Yeah. What did you make of the Titans defensively yesterday? You mentioned Jeffrey Simmons, a sack and a half in the game. He was very good in the game. Couple of key turnovers. We mentioned the Woods interception. They also forced a fumble from Dylan Sampson as well, former Vol. So a couple of turnovers created for the Titans yesterday. They did give up 29 points. They did give up 364 yards passing. But overall, what did you make of the defense for the Titans yesterday?
Yeah, Simmons is great. Ward, is disruptive. He makes some plays. Key's out there, doing some stuff here and there. I really like Cedric Gray. I think Cedric Gray is at times we talk about who, what's the core moving forward and all that. There's no question he's part of it. I like him. I mean, they're bad in the back end. So right now they're just bad in the back end. You hope that at least at safety, moving forward, you just signed Hooker to this deal, that you're going to be fine. And it's just a matter of addressing corner. But certainly yesterday was a good example of where they're deficient in the back end. But hung in there and still, made some plays, obviously. And Simmons, how far is he from his? Someone said he was a sack away from his career high, and he's going to get that for sure, I would think.
I would assume so. Let me go look and double check that that's how far away he is. But if that is
Very
the case,
close.
he is. Yeah, he's at 8 sacks right now, and his career high is
I thought
actually
his career
8.5.
was
So he's
8.5.
a half a sack away. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a sack away from establishing a new one. He's terrific. Sweat, he in pursuit at times, it is amazing sometimes watching him move. How does he move that well? But then also at times it's you just can't. You can't play at that size.
He did absolutely crush Shedeur one time. And he landed on top of it, and I was like, well, they're for sure going to throw a flag on that, for, the landing on the quarterback, but they didn't. I was stunned.
Yeah, especially with him, that should be like a 30-yard penalty.
Yeah, I mean, almost put you into the earth if you do that. It's like, wow, Shedeur Sanders fell down to the the middle crust of the earth there.
Wow, is it hot down there? What's it? Yeah, but it's again, Denard Wilson, as we've discussed, he's done pretty good stuff with that group, considering all the limitations, all the personnel issues, and people getting traded and people getting hurt and all that stuff. But you also did just give up a boatload of yards to Shedeur Sanders in an offense that usually does nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the good news is they did not run the ball on the Titans. They did not run the ball on the Titans yesterday. 20 carries for 61 yards. That's 3.1 a carry for the Browns yesterday. Leading rusher was Shedeur. So, I mean, Judkins didn't do anything on the ground. He had 14 carries for 26 yards. Sampson, 2 carries for 4 yards. I mean, Judkins' biggest play was a pass. It was a 58-yard play they had. So, I mean, an extension of the running game there, but actually stopping the run, Titans did a pretty good job of that yesterday.
Yeah, and so again, it's I thought that if there was any chance of this team being decent this year, it would start on offense with running the ball, which they haven't done all year, but they did yesterday. And then if the defense was going to be good this year, it would start with Simmons and Sweat and that front, not letting teams run the ball and at least making teams one-dimensional, maybe helping what was on paper an anemic pass rush, and that happened yesterday too. It was like the team that maybe we thought they could be going into the season. We saw a glimpse of it kind of out of nowhere yesterday.
Yeah, for sure. Now, how sustainable is it? That's the other thing. Now, some of this is you played Cleveland, and as we know, I mean, the Titans have got a couple of dates coming up on the schedule that may not go very well for them. You got the Niners on the road coming up. You got Kansas City, even though Kansas City is not as daunting as they once were, seemingly. The Saints, I mean, look, the Saints went down to Tampa Bay and won the game yesterday.
Yes,
so there's
did.
that. And then you got Jacksonville to close things out, which, I mean, Jacksonville, with the way that Houston's playing right now, Jacksonville very well could have something to play for there. So, I'm not going to pretend like I think the Titans are about to go on some run here, but that's what makes yesterday so mystifying, Joe, is they did a lot of things yesterday that they've just not approached doing all year long. And it's like, well, where did that come from at this point of the year on December the 7th?
Yeah, and not a lot of it is going to, well, especially offensively. I mean, again, like next year they have to. I'm not saying use a high pick, but they need to, one way or the other, free agency or draft. They need to upgrade at running back.
Yes,
I hate to say that after Pollard had his career day, but that's the balance of the season tells us that. So I mean, I just think that was kind of a one of those random days in December when bad teams meet. But some of those guys on defense are going to matter. Again, I like Cedric Gray and things like that. So, so they have some things to build on for this game. But look, it's them winning a game. I don't necessarily subscribe to this idea of like learning how to win. I mean, all these people played previously at different levels and probably won a lot in college for the most part and things like that. It's learning how to win. I mean, good for them to win, to get the feeling, because the vibes just can't be good when it's week after week after week and you never get rewarded. I also don't feel like this win or another win after this is going to make that much of a difference moving forward if they don't get way better.
Yeah.
And if they get way better, they could have gone 1-16 this year and still won in the future because they have better players. So I don't know. Kaharski's a big subscriber to this idea. I don't know how much stock I really put into it, but I know, like, for them now, it's got to be a great feeling. I mean, Mike McCoy, man, I just saw it again. They just showed another little segment on Sports Center of his speech. I mean,
yes,
they were pumped, man. They were pumped up in that locker room.
Good Lord, don't interview him for the job still, please.
I'm
glad he got his win.
Considered, right?
I'm glad he got his win. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. The college football playoff has been set. We will react to that coming up next. Take your thoughts on Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. We'll have the Rob Rant coming up at 7:45. Cory Curtis from News 2 will be with us at 8 o'clock for his weekly visit. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans' win yesterday against the Browns. Taking your thoughts in the meantime, 615-737-1025. Joe, the college football playoff bracket has been set. The top 4 seeds, Indiana at number 1 after they take down Ohio State in the Big Ten title game. Signetti just getting it done out there. Ohio State number 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech number 4. Those are your 4 teams that will have the bye in the first round. Oregon at 5. They'll take on James Madison, where they are a 3-touchdown favorite in the tournament that decides the national champion. And we've decided we're okay with that. That's the 5-12 matchup. Ole Miss and Tulane, a game we've seen already, is the 6-11 matchup, which Ole Miss won that game by, I believe, 25 points. And then A&M and Miami, the 7-10, Alabama, Oklahoma in the rematch in the 8-9. So we got 2 rematches in the first round, Joe. We have no Notre Dame in the playoff after they were ranked ahead of Miami the entire time in the TV show. And then Miami ends up jumping them at the end. Alabama gets thumped in the SEC title game by Georgia, and it basically doesn't cost them at all. And it comes to the college football playoff final ranking. So, Joe, with all that being said, what do you make of how the bracket landed, and what's kind of a couple of your biggest takeaways from it?
And then BYU gets thumped by Texas Tech, and it does cost them. So
exactly,
yeah, I'd say first of all, this committee and not necessarily the field, because I think that they got it right with Notre Dame, Miami. But the way that this all came about, it's the worst committee we've had. It's the worst committee in terms of, the explanations. Again, I think Juracek had an amazing one yesterday. I'll find it. But again, it's like every week they'll say something and then they will, and then they'll just directly contradict it 5 seconds later. I mean, all the stuff with Vanderbilt, it's like, losing or winning a close game against, against Auburn. I mean, that's, and then it's like Alabama, the gutty win of a rivalry game against that's a tough Auburn team. It's like, again, if it's a team that's something good happened to them, then you will say the opposite things about the team that you just ripped or vice versa. So yesterday Juracek is like, so he's talking about Bama and why they didn't move, right? Yeah. They just stay there. They get crushed. And again, I didn't think Bama should have been bounced out of the field, but it seems like, a spot might have been. I mean, like even last year, SMU still got in, but they dropped 2 spots from that loss to Clemson ACC title game. So he says, he mentions with Bama, they beat Georgia. That's arguably, which is true. The win at Georgia, I mean, that's just one of those things that's like, who had a better win than that this year as we look at it right now, right? I mean, that happened, and it has to count. But then he says, quote, they also had a win against Vanderbilt and then a previous win at Missouri and Tennessee, both of whom had been ranked in our top 25 at various points this year, end quote. So, again, last week, he's like, Vanderbilt, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Tennessee's not a top 25 win. And now he's like, well, at points this, if you're going to do the at points this year, then Vanderbilt's your 5 seed, you freaking idiot. Yeah. I mean, my God, it's so bad. So the way we got to this is infuriating. And you're a check. And then, look, I understand he's put in a bad spot here. Okay. To try to explain what, again, is the process is individual votes. It is not. I mean, again, I don't know what they do behind closed doors. Maybe they completely trash that and they actually sit there and say, ESPN, let us know what we should do. But again, let me tell you something. Last year, SMU over Alabama. This year, Notre Dame's not in the field. Like, the money's already paid, okay? So, like, I think we should give these people credit for, terrible explanations, terrible process. You can rip their decisions. Like, I understand people want to go to, oh, it's just the money. The money's paid, guys. And I mean, look at what they just did. You just mentioned those games. And yes, I will continue to believe that the group of 5 should get 1 team in every year. Of course, they got 2 this year because the ACC is such a joke. But look at those games. I mean, even flip-flop the 12 and 11 so we don't get a rematch, like you said, of Tulane and Ole Miss. They've done nothing to give themselves ratings or money with this field. So, I mean, if we think there's a conspiracy and it's corruption, my God, are they bad at conspiracies and being corrupt. They are terrible at it.
Well, a few things on all that. So, number one, I'm glad Miami's in and Notre Dame's not. You know, we talked about that last week. Now, the process in which they went about to get to that point, to me, is a huge problem here. And it's something that I don't think is going to change, but needs to. And I know it's not going to, so I don't know how much time I really want to spend talking about it. The TV show part of this is just a huge issue. It is. And, you know, it's set in stone, and it's what it's going to be, and they're going to do it because people watch it and they talk about it. And we spend, you know, time every week talking about the college football playoff rankings after they're unveiled. So I guess we're part of the problem. But the bottom line is none of it really matters until yesterday. So frankly, like the more I look at it, you could save yourself a lot of egg on your face by not having to come out with these goofy explanations every week. If you just didn't do this stupid TV show and you just came out with a ranking at the end, you'd save yourself a lot of embarrassment, I think, if it went that way. Now, having said all that, it ain't going to go that way, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it. I think they got Miami over Notre Dame right. I think the head-to-head has to matter at some point. This explanation that they've concocted here, where they're just, I guess, are not allowed to directly compare the two until they're right next to each other in the rankings, has always just been stupid. Like, it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. They finally got it.
It's not true either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like, it's just dumb. So I have no problem with Miami getting in over Notre Dame. Just don't sit there and act like for the last 5 weeks that Notre Dame was ever going to get in over Miami, because it wasn't going to happen. Like, it's just dumb. So that's the one thing. Number two, as you mentioned, the ACC has really screwed this whole thing up. And yes, it's a combination of a couple things. It's number one, they don't have very many teams that are any good. And number two, if you go and look at their tiebreakers and how they determine who gets in their conference championship, it's one of the dumbest things out there. Like, they just totally screwed this up with the way that they wrote down their tiebreakers. You know, I don't like the group of 5 stuff. We've talked about that. But at least in the group of 5, like in the American Conference, one of their tiebreakers pretty quickly on the list is, where are you ranked in the college football playoff rankings? And that helps you determine the tiebreaker. And the fact that Duke, all respect to Duke, by the way, good game between Duke and Virginia, but the fact that the 7-5 Duke team were in the ACC title game is just ridiculous. And the ACC, from that standpoint, has screwed all this up.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, that needs to change. You know, this just flashed on ESPN, but I know we'll talk about Notre Dame ahead here, but next year, by the rules that kick in next year, if the rules of next year were in place now, Duke would have had to be in as ACC champ, and also Notre Dame would have had to have been in with a top 12 ranking. So get ready for that. But yeah, look, I don't disagree on the TV show. It's contractual. When it comes down to it, this is where, again, the idea of that ESPN is telling, again, these administrators or like these former coaches who, like, I covered Mark D'Antonio. The guy's a millionaire many times over. If some ESPN geek comes in and says, hey, can we make sure we get this team in? He'd probably stuff them in a trash can. Like, they're not doing that. But where I will agree on ESPN and money, making something bad that should be better, is that we have the show, and we're going to have the show. So I proposed, I wrote this yesterday, like, let's just have, instead like CFP spans, like C-SPAN.
Yeah.
Just put it on ESPN News, and then let's watch. I'm probably not going to watch much of it. Somebody will, and then we can actually hear what they say. Seriously. Like, let's hear your discussions. Let's hear your deliberations. Because I will disagree with you on one thing that you just said, Robby. You said they were never going to get in. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, I agree that if we had gotten to the end and it's just Miami over Notre Dame, yeah, they beat them head-to-head. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree that was always going to work out this way. And in fact, if you want to get into conspiracy theories, I do believe that if Virginia, and remember, these people vote individually, but if Virginia would have beaten Duke to get the ACC a team, I think one or two of those committee members might have been like, okay, there's an ACC team, so we don't have to like worry about completely screwing over the league. Notre Dame stays in. I tweeted that Saturday night. If Virginia loses, you watch, Miami's in tomorrow. That's how it worked out. But, it is a mess. They're going to keep having the show. To me, they need to show us their math. They need to show us their formulas. They don't even tell us like what the strength of schedule is that they go by. I mean, that's stupid. You have to be way more transparent to this.
Well, and frankly, I don't know why we can't have a system where we just go rank teams 1 through 12 and go. Like, I don't know why we can't do this. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. The college football playoff bracket is set. A lot of your reaction to get to. We will get into that coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. DVD with Willie Donick, Derek Mason, and Adam Vingan will be broadcasting live at the all-new Circus Sportsbook Kentucky in the Mint Gaming Hall today prior to the Monday Night Football game. Tonight's matchup is the Eagles taking on the Chargers. Also, Mondays, made for Macero. Big screens, bold flavors, all the football action from queso to kickoffs. This is how Macero does game night. Macero Football Mondays in 12 South. Don't miss a snap. We'll have the Rob Rant coming up here in just a few minutes. We got Cory Curtis from News 2 at 8 o'clock. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans and their win against the Cleveland Browns. The college football playoff bracket is set. A lot of your reaction to get to on that front. 615-737-1025, our phone number. 615-737-1025. 1025. One texter says the committee got everything right except for 2 group of 5 teams having to be in there. Why are people so mad about Vandy? They're 3 spots away. Notre Dame, Texas, and then Vandy. By the way, throw BYU in there as well.
Well, Vanderbilt had a case. Vanderbilt. Look. The outrage, obviously, in the immediate aftermath of this thing is for Notre Dame fans. Redemption on the YouTube chat saying, it wouldn't be so bad if they weren't, ranked ahead of Miami all those weeks. Then again, it's so dumb because earlier, whether it was Juracek or Rhodes, I don't remember, but talked about just, being in the same grouping. If they're in the same grouping, they can be compared, right? And they had already gotten to the same grouping, but now they have to be touching each other.
Just so dumb.
And that's not written. That's not a written guideline. So they're just kind of, the way they did this is terrible. But look, Vanderbilt had a case for sure. I mean, when you go by some metrics, strength of record, strength of schedule, they are better than these teams that were ahead of them. They did not have the great win. Now, I still think that the blowout win at Tennessee should have helped them, and it hurt them. But really, it's just that the committee didn't think they were good enough, so they put them where they did, and then they made sure that was used against them, whereas they'll use the exact same data points for a team that they think is better. I mean, it's a very stupid way to go about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. And, again, like I said, I understand that this year, I guess, is because of what's gone on in the ACC. It's just the way it worked out this year. But it's just an absolute joke that Tulane and James Madison are both in the college football playoff. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just a total travesty. We got a college football playoff game that decides the national championship where there's a team that's a 3-touchdown favorite at home.
Yeah. I mean, again, on the whole decide the national championship, you want to make tournaments big. And Herb Street's sitting there. Oh, we got to get to 16. I hear people say, well, we got to get to 24. Well, once you get this big, you're going to have teams in here that can't win the national championship. Again,
I
basketball, agree. Yeah. But I agree that so if Miami is able to play in the ACC championship game, and then they're going to win, they're going to get that spot, and now you have an extra spot for a good team to be in this thing, and then there's still going to be teams who got left out who feel jilted, right? And Vanderbilt probably still would have been left out. Would have been Notre Dame that would have been in.
Yeah. But
at least then you'd have better games, you'd have a better tournament. So yeah, do we need to does it need to just be, but then you get into, I mean, there's always unintended consequences with whatever you want to do. So if I don't disagree with you on the whole, the group of 5 does the playoff ranking, that should be of utmost importance to them. If you're like the ACC and you make it like that, then you'll have a team who, out of nowhere maybe they're not good. They lose a couple non-league games, but they go 7-1 in the league, and they're right. But that 6-2 team is in the title game over them because they have a higher playoff. Then they'll be screaming. I mean, the league, the biggest issue with all this, I mean, the committee is a big issue, and how they do it. But the biggest issue with all of this that's caused so many problems is these leagues that have gotten out of control big to where it's really just like, I think I heard Reese Davis say this yesterday. I totally agree. It's like they're really just more like an association, a scheduling association. Like you can't have a league this big and pretend that league standings or any of that stuff could possibly matter anymore. It just doesn't make sense to have leagues this big. It screws everything up.
And now we're getting into a part of this from the conference championship game standpoint, where some of the results matter and some of them don't. And look, I'm not necessarily saying that Alabama absolutely should have been kicked out of the playoff. They did get absolutely destroyed, if you watch that game, by Georgia, and they've been playing very poorly the last couple of weeks here. So, I do think it probably should have been a discussion. They got smoked on Saturday by Georgia. But again, that's neither here nor there. But the problem is, the conference championship games aren't held to the same standard. You mentioned it last year. Like SMU, they lost in the conference championship game. They moved down a couple of spots. Alabama doesn't move at all. Well, BYU does move. And I know BYU's gotten smoked twice by Texas Tech, and they don't have wins that Alabama has to fall back on. But the whole thing here, like the conference championship, as we talked about last week, was a really cool thing under the old system. And in today's system in college football, with the playoff being what it is, and now that you've expanded it, it gets in the way more than it does anything else. Like it's just they need to get rid of all of them.
Yeah, like an Indiana fan today will be like, to hell with that. We just had one of the greatest nights ever, beating Ohio State, winning our first Big Ten championship in 50 years, first outright Big Ten championship in 80 years, 1945. So if you randomly you get a game like that, that's great. But like, even like Georgia, Alabama, I'm sure Georgia fans are excited too. And obviously for Kirby, it's good to finally beat Alabama. But yes, they are a problem for sure. One thing that drives me crazy, and look, media members ask this every single week, I swear. There was at least one question to this effect. The answer changes, but I hate the idea. There is in no world can you say that the loser of a conference championship game should have no consequences. That's absolutely asinine. How could you? Is this a game? Yes. Is there a winner and a loser? Yes. Does the winner get a reward? If the winner gets a reward for a conference championship game, how could you possibly say that there could never be a consequence for the loser? I mean, so what you're saying is you have, in most games, you have a winner or loser. In this game, you have a winner and a happy friend of the winner who helped the winner win.
Yeah.
And then we all get no, I'm sorry. But if you play a game but every week it's like, people ask about like no consequence. And even, listen, I understand these coaches all have to make their case. But Kalen DeBoer after the game was like, well, they set the precedent last year. Again, Kalen, the SMU dropped 2 spots. They still got in over Alabama, and I think that was the right decision. But they did drop 2 spots. There was a consequence of some sort for losing the game to Clemson. So there's no precedent, man. I heard Greg McElroy say that yesterday too. We're sitting here watching other teams fall because they lost in their conference title game. I hate that. It should never be even asked again, but it is also weird that Alabama doesn't even drop a spot. And that's where you get into, I guess they felt like they just had to have Notre Dame and Miami next to each other to do what they did. It's talking through what they must think or how things turned out or how they explain it is it can really drive you batty.
So, I mean, I guess definitely in the first round, A&M Miami is the best game, right? I mean, you got Oregon that's going to beat James Madison by 45. You have a rematch of Alabama and Oklahoma, which, I mean, look, could be a good game. We'll see what that looks like. But, I mean, Alabama's not playing all that great. Oklahoma's offense is kind of a sore spot right now, so we see that. You have Ole Miss who's going to beat Tulane by 40. And then you have Miami, Texas A&M. It's kind of a terrible first round, but I guess Miami, Texas A&M is the best of the bunch.
Yeah, and last year's was a much more appealing first round for sure. I remember last year, like all of them looked, good to very good. Yeah, I mean, and if you look at the scheduling, by the way, because they can't escape, the NFL doesn't care about the college football playoffs, so they've got Saturday games on the 20th, and so the playoff people put the 2 games that are probably going to be blowouts, the group of 5 teams, against the NFL. So they're isolating the other games for when there's not NFL games on. Yes, Texas A&M, Miami. I'm definitely excited about that game. That should be really interesting. Alabama, Oklahoma. I mean, if Oklahoma beats Alabama again, you talk about Brent Venables just completely owning Kalen DeBoer. Because remember, that's why Oklahoma didn't get in last year. And that was a terrible Oklahoma team they lost to last year at the end of the year. It was kind of out of nowhere. Then they lose this one at home. I can't stand watching Oklahoma. I would rather see Alabama win and start playing well again because I still think they have the potential to be a good team. But I don't know. That could be like a 13-9 game or something.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And again, like I still contend. I said it last year. And I say it again now, even though I do think it's a different situation than it was last year. But the 5 seed in this playoff's a pretty sweet spot to be, man. Like you get the absolute bum at number 12 that you get to play at home. And then you get the lowest ranked of the 4 teams that get the bye. Now, look, Texas Tech's good. We're going to find out how good. I don't know how good they are. We're going to find out pretty quickly when they play Oregon, but the 5 seed, which I believe was occupied by Penn State last year when they got Boise State and SMU. 5 seed's pretty good spot to be in this tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Oregon might say, well, we'll take a bye, but still, because, you can still get people hurt or whatever. But, yeah, no doubt. And that might be, obviously, as we get deeper into the tournament, we have the potential. I mean, I would not be mad about an Indiana Ohio State rematch. We obviously have the potential for Ohio State Georgia in a 2-3 game, but Oregon Texas Tech, that might be the game I'm most excited about, just in terms of that Oregon offense. Can be very explosive. Dante Moore, very good player. And then to see that Texas Tech defense, I just really want to see Texas Tech against some of these top teams from other leagues to see if they're as good as I think they are on defense.
615-737-1025, our phone number. The Rob Rant coming up next. We'll continue the discussion on the college football playoff and address Notre Dame's response to being left out of the college football playoff. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
I go to Starbucks. I go to Starbucks. I get a venti.
For me, that's a very fulfilling moment.
Let's go win some football games. Come on.
I want to know where to go.
Well, I don't get right, man. Cold.
I was in serious pain last night, but my God, that beef rib, holy cow. you get the gout, man. It's just there.
I want to go. Give me the go. I want to go.
I married my cousin last year.
Borderline erotic.
This is all bullcrap, is what this is. It is time for the Rob Rant. You can check it out every morning, either the Rob Rant or the Rex Rant. Every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Joe, we've been having a nice discussion about the college football playoff bracket. Notre Dame left out of the playoff, which has generated a ton of response, including a response from Notre Dame yesterday, who released the following statement in the aftermath of the college football playoff selection committee making their decision. Quote, as a team, we've decided to withdraw our name for consideration for a bowl game following the 2025 season. We appreciate all the support from our families and fans, and we're hoping to bring the 12th national title to South Bend in 2026. Signed, the 2025 Notre Dame football team. So Notre Dame has opted out of a bowl game. They will not be participating. They're not going to do any of the practices, and they're basically taking their ball and heading home at the end of all this here. And, Joe, I approached this from a couple of different things. Number one, if you ever needed confirmation that the college football playoff is all that matters anymore in the sport, well, here it is. And there's some other teams opting out too, like Iowa State's opting out, Kansas State's opting out. I mean, I guess at least you could make the argument for them that they're having coaching changes. So I don't know. You can make whatever argument you want to make there. I do have sympathy from Notre Dame from the standpoint of, like, they obviously feel like they were jobbed, and I think you can make a legitimate argument that maybe they were screwed by the college football playoff committee. Again, I mean, James Madison's in the playoff, so you can definitely make that argument. However, I do think the response here of just opting out of the bowl game is really petty, and frankly, it pisses me off. Like, as somebody who loves college football, the fact that this is where we've now gotten to where, well, we didn't make the playoffs, so we're just going to take our ball, go home, and not play in the bowl game is ridiculous to me. I know that they've played this off as if, like, the whole team voted to not play or something like that. Joe, you can't tell me that there aren't some seniors on that team, just like there are on every team, that are not going to go on to have long careers in the NFL, in many cases will not go on to be in the NFL at all, who just basically got told yesterday that they have already played their last football game ever. You can't tell me that everybody on the team was on board for that. I'm sorry. You just can't do it. So the fact that this is the response by Notre Dame, I've got some sympathy that they think they were screwed, and that's fine, and we can have that discussion. But to just not play in the bowl game, I think is such a loser thing to do for that football program. And frankly, it's to the point where it's like, oh, you don't want to play in the postseason? That's fine. You're eliminated from college football playoff discussion next year. Screw you, Notre Dame.
Oh, man, I love that one. Let's do that. I vote for that. If there's a vote for that one, I vote for it. It's so weak. There's a great the play like a champion today sign. There's a great, someone made it to take your ball and go home today. Yeah. Player hitting it on the way on the field. It's weak, and I agree with you. I understand Prudential's an Irish fan. He says, players chose this.
There's no way every one of the players chose this.
No, I mean, look, I'm going to go to what Clark Lee said, because he was asked about this yesterday, about declining a bid. His quote was, quote, "We love playing football here," end quote. By the way, Clark Lee also, good for him. I mean, look, Vanderbilt did all they could to make the case. And then Clark Lee said yesterday, quote, "It's no one's fault except our own. We had our opportunities. We didn't do enough. We're not victims in this process. Our ownership is coming up short," end quote. That's good for him, because ultimately, you did. You had chances against Texas and Alabama. You didn't win those games. You needed to win one of them. But to Notre Dame, I'm with you. There's no way all the players wanted this. Like, think about all you go through to play just a little bit of football. And this is kind of Kaharski's argument when it comes to, like, the Titans and winning games and caring about games still. You have 17 days out of 365 where there's going to be a football game. It's the same thing with these guys. You get 12 games in a year, and you're just going to forfeit that. I understand. Now, you should feel jilted and upset and all that stuff. These other teams are playing their bowl games. I mean, also, if you're Notre Dame, I do actually, Robby, distinguish between this and, like, the Kansas State situation. A guy retires.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's different situations. This team is bringing its coach back, bringing a ton of really good players back.
Quarterback.
Should be a contender
Yeah.
next year. And by the way, you don't want the 15 free practices you get
Exactly.
that come with playing in a bowl game. Why would you forfeit those? That's where you get young guys chances to do give reps with the ones. You get reps doing your offense and your defense instead of scout team stuff.
Yeah, nobody's saying that Jeremiah Love's got to go play in the bowl game. We see players opt out of it all the time, but to just have everybody opt out is just so bad.
It's weak and look, is it a death knell of sorts? I mean, I know some people are looking at it that way when it comes to the bowl games. I mean, I still think the bowl games are going to continue to exist. And I mean, look, some of them are. I think we've got a 5-7 against a 5-7 conference rivals that just played it like less than a month ago in the Birmingham Bowl. So, what was it? App State and Georgia Southern? Is that what it is? I think that's what it is. So, I mean, like, some of them are going to be at times maybe scrounging, but they're going to continue to exist. People still watch them. It's TV inventory that still does well during the holidays, right? Like, you put a bowl game on. What bowl game's on right now? So they're going to continue to exist. I do think this is another example of, like, when the playoff becomes everything, I think it's harder and harder probably to get fans excited to go travel to a place and to make a deal out of a bowl game the way not that long ago they used to do.
Well, and you know what else? Like, I know you're Notre Dame and you've kind of marched to the beat of your own drum throughout history. Join a conference. It's 2025. We're in a new era of college football. It's the college football playoff part of this, and you just get to march around because you don't have a conference. Well, you know what? Sometimes there's consequences to that, and this is one of them. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you could make that case, or I might make the case like everybody just becoming independent. But yeah, I mean, no doubt. And again, next year, Notre Dame this could not happen. This exact scenario if they were ranked now. Now, if this happened next year, then maybe they just drop them another spot and they still don't get in. But if they're in the top 12, they have to get in. Yeah, look, I think it's incredibly weak and short-sighted, and it just feels like it just feels like a knee-jerk reaction to this without thinking things through. I think you're better off doing this. Prudential said they're not happening, and NBC gives them that money. Well, I get it. Obviously, that's why they've stayed independent, right? I mean, they don't have to share with anybody, and so what they get from their NBC contract is more than in sharing if they were in one of these leagues. But
then be prepared to deal with the consequences of it.
Exactly. And another thing on this, by the way, because another thing people are freaking out about is this whole no one's going to schedule a game and all that stuff. Well, let me tell you something. Good thing for Miami that you scheduled Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Because you sure as hell would not be in this thing with your ACC schedule. So, keep that in mind too. These big non-league games, if the SEC thinks they're going to do away with them, man, it's to me, it's a bad idea. Because if you're just saying, well, we're in the SEC, it's great, and you don't ever beat anybody else, well, then are you sure it's great? Because a lot of the rest of the country would like to believe that you're overrated.
615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. Cory Curtis from News 2 will be with us coming up next. Titans get the win against the Browns. We'll get his thoughts on that. We'll get his thoughts on the way the college football playoff shook out. All that coming up. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Monday morning. And it's Monday at 8 o'clock. And that can only mean one thing. We head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in our good friend Cory Curtis from News 2, brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic. Cory, how we doing? What's going on?
I'm good. Robert, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. A lot of good football to watch yesterday. It's good stuff.
It was.
I'm watching some Bears-Packers highlights right now.
It was a great game. It was a great game. I mean, that's why I say sometimes you can play well and lose. It's okay. Look, if they had lost 35-7, I'd be a little bitter right now. I'd feel a little bad. But, to go Lambeau and play that well, I'm pretty happy.
Well, we get to see it again here in a couple weeks on Sunday Night Football. Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Yeah. Hopefully it means something again. The Bears' schedule's brutal down the stretch. I'm not even – I hope to make the playoffs, but I don't think it's a lock when you look at who they got to play.
They do have some tough ones coming up, no doubt about that. So, Cory, a lot of things shocking about yesterday's performance, not the least of which is the Titans getting into the 30s and winning the game on the road. I guess I want to start here. PFF put this out there. And when you read it, it's almost stunning to talk about. Myles Garrett held to a 4% pass rush win rate, which is the second lowest in his entire career. And it's this Tennessee Titans team and this Tennessee Titans offensive line, Cory, that made that happen. How stunning is that yesterday?
It's extremely stunning because, we were worried about not just, the sack record being in play with 3 or 4 sacks, but like the single game record being in play with 7. Because it's just been, they've given up the most sacks this year, and, he's a monster. And the one sack he got wasn't because he won against like Dan Moore or Udo or Latham. It was a stunt where he looped all the way over from the right side over the left guard. And, he's fast enough, athletic enough to close that gap really quickly and get the sack. So, they did an outstanding job. And I've always said, you guys heard me for probably 2 years on this show say they're not going to be any good until they can win in the trenches. And, you win in the trenches and you score 31 points. It's not a mystery. It's not like some great conspiracy that you had to figure out. Just how did they do it? That's a bigger question. I do think the coaching staff deserves a lot of credit for how they handled Myles Garrett. Running at him was absolutely the right thing to do. I think they took advantage. Look, he's after the sack record. He knows he's going against a team that struggles to protect the quarterback. He was in full pass rush mode, and they took advantage of it. They ran the ball right at him while he was looping around trying to get to Cam Ward. And then I think we need to ask the question, is Corey Levin that much better than Lloyd Cushenberry?
I think that's a fair point. Levin has been a solid guy who's kind of been hanging around and definitely, I think, looked better yesterday than Cushenberry has looked this year. But how much of all of this, because I agree with you, Cory, it was the exact right game plan. I don't watch the Browns a ton. To me, that's what I would like any team should think that way, right? Like hit him as much as you can, run at him as much as you can, and then roll the pocket the other way. But how much of yesterday do you think can be taken forward from the Titans in that regard?
Well, I think it shows these guys they can win some at the line of scrimmage. So hopefully, that moves forward. But, like I said, that was a successful game plan against the second-ranked defense in the league.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, you should be able to do that against, lesser defenses. You should be able to have a plan, to win. But again, like you're talking about with, pass rush win rate, you need to be able to win reps. And, maybe it's these guys coming together some 12 games, 13 games into the season. It's like I always say, one's got to become 2. Right now, this is just a fluke, right? You have to – congratulations, it's great, it's fantastic. But if they don't do it again, it's just a fluke. And so, who's up next? San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not going to be easy, but you got a chance to show you got better and it wasn't a fluke. When they beat Arizona, the next week they came out and showed it was an absolute fluke, and the coach got fired. So, they need to show, win or lose, that it wasn't a fluke. I mean, we've seen them lose and been like, hey, that's a step in the right direction. And I think that can still happen against San Francisco. I think you can play well and lose and be a step in the right direction. But we'll see, because, for now it's a fluke because it's once.
What did you make of – I mean, it is kind of amazing, Corey. They scored 31 points, and the quarterback threw for 117 yards in this game. But when Tony Pollard –
they ran for 180.
Yeah, when Tony Pollard plays like the best game of his career, I guess that can happen at that point. What did you make of the Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders conversation that took the league by storm yesterday and the way those two played?
Well, I mean, they played two different games, number one. One of them was playing the second-ranked defense, the other one wasn't, and the game was called for them that way. Shedeur made some great throws. He made some bad throws. Cam made some good throws, and he made some not so good throws. I mean, but they were asked to do different things. The Titans' goal was to not let Myles Garrett wreck the football game. That's the way they played it. They ran quick hitting stuff. They ran they ran at him. They rolled the pocket away from him. He threw 2 touchdown passes, which he hadn't done all year. So I don't. The stats will make you hate Cam Ward's performance yesterday. I did not hate Cam Ward's performance yesterday. If anything, Shedeur Sanders was better than I expected, and I say, congratulations, to him. Ultimately, winning the game is what matters. I think the most shocking thing is Stefanski taking the ball out of Sanders' hands with a chance to tie the game.
Yeah, between that, and I'm sorry, but I understand. We see it sometimes. The down 2 touchdowns go for 2.
Yeah,
when you
score,
I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
They just kick 2 extra points and it's an overtime game, or maybe
against the worst team in football.
Right.
So when you play the worst team in football, the longer the game goes, the better it should go for you.
That's true. Right. Exactly. Yeah, like you're at home against the worst team in the NFL, so you don't have to do stuff like that. That's what a team that's
like have to take chances.
yeah. But then between that and him saying after the game that now Dylan Gabriel is going to possibly start next week, I don't know.
Wow.
I mean, I might be on the fire Stefanski train and maybe not. I actually went on Cleveland radio Saturday, and like they are blown away that Titans fans might be interested in Stefanski, which is
after watching that 2-point conversion attempt, I may be too.
Maybe I've got it all wrong with this guy. I don't know.
Well, it's funny because like Robby hates Matt LaFleur.
That's true,
and I think there's
12-1 against the Bears.
There's a lot of fan bases that would kill for Matt LaFleur because he's won a heck of a lot of football games. Kevin Stefanski's been the NFL Coach of the Year twice. Mike Vrabel is the NFL Coach of the Year with the Titans, and he's probably going to be the NFL Coach of the Year this year. When you've got a quarterback, you usually look like a pretty good coach, and you usually win games. Cleveland's been in a quarterback black hole. Every year they've gotten decent quarterback play. Stefanski has won, and that's the NFL, guys. Now I say this. Think about this. We could have a playoffs this year without Mahomes, without Burrow, and without Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
And they're considered 3 of the top 5. And, that blows my whole, you could quarterback play, you win. But Lamar Jackson hasn't played well this year. Joe Burrow's been hurt most of the year. So that's necessarily true. And Chiefs got old. I took that somewhere else. I'm sorry.
And bad. That's okay. And bad all of a sudden.
That's okay. So on that front, when you're looking around now, the AFC South, you've seen Houston after starting 0-3. They're right back in it in the AFC South. I mean, Indianapolis, along with New England, was the story of the league early in the year. Yeah. And now they're Daniel Jones tore his Achilles, and they're done at that point. And Jacksonville just keeps rolling off wins.
Trade looks awesome now.
Yeah, it's looking real good. Looking real good stuff. So what do you make of kind of how that part of it has shaken out. And I guess, who do you have winning the division? Is it your beloved Jacksonville Jaguars, who, as we know, you're the most popular man in Duval County, or is it Houston?
I am. I cannot look. The Jaguars may win the division. I don't know what their schedules are the rest of the way, but I don't think anybody wants to play Houston because their defense is just lethal. I mean, the front that they've assembled, and you got to give their coaching staff has done a nice job of pivoting. When D'Amico turned the play calling over to Matt Burke, their offense has gotten a little bit better. Their defense has been rock solid. That shows up pretty much every week, and you don't know what you're going to get from Trevor Lawrence week to week. And so I think ultimately, the Jags may win the division, but Houston's the team I don't think anybody wants to play.
By the way, real quickly, the rest of the schedule for the Jags: home against the Jets, road against Denver, road against Indy with no Daniel Jones, and home against the Titans. That's how they close out.
So they're probably 12-5.
Yeah.
Okay, which means they'll go like 10-7. So, because that's the NFL.
That's true. That is true. Only team they beat in that stretch is the Broncos.
Yeah. By the way,
yeah,
over under was 33.5 yesterday.
Yeah,
33.5. Who had a 60-point shootout between Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward in the snow?
Yeah, the over under is almost blown up at halftime, and Myles Garrett is completely stonewalled by the Titans. So no, it all makes sense. Speaking of the Texans, Corey, I mean, I'm still trying to understand what Andy Reid was thinking last night. Like
oh my gosh,
like as bad as it was, like Kelsey gives him a gift pick and all that stuff, but that happened after. Like, it's a 10-all game. Your defense is playing great, and you go for it inside your own 30 against that defense. Like, that's like incredible coaching malpractice by him. I don't think enough is being made of that, or maybe I'm missing it.
Well, I think he's got enough skins on the wall where he can make a mistake and get away with one. But
they're 6-6, so you had to win that game.
Yeah. I don't know if that's incredible coaching, like overconfidence or incompetence. I mean, was that panic? Was it panic?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of looked like panic. Like, oh my God.
But you don't panic when your defense is playing like that. You just let that keep happening.
But every time they've done crap like that for the last decade, they've pulled it off somehow.
Yeah,
yeah, and look, true. I think they thought, well, Mahomes will get the yard and a half, and because it's a yard and a half, and he's Patrick Mahomes. So I understand why you would think that, but they're clearly not the same team. I mean, it's funny. Everybody gets all upset about the Titans draft position, and I'm like, look, the Eagles and Chiefs, they didn't get where they are by drafting first, guys. They drafted a lot of good players and developed them, year after year after year after year. And so, don't panic about the Titans not picking first. But, you have to say about the Chiefs in the last few years, they have not done a good job of drafting and developing, skill players around Mahomes. Kelsey has gotten old. Rice is a good player on the outside, but, he's in trouble half the time. And, they don't have enough weapons. Hollywood Brown is 40. I mean, we can make excuses for them all we want and say that these guys are all great. They're not. Xavier Worthy, we thought was going to be a good player, and he's kind of a complimentary piece.
Yeah.
And, you thought he was going to be more than that, but that's all he's looking. He's looking like Willie Galt for the Bears in the 80s.
Nice. Nice pull. Look at you.
That's
brings it all the way back around.
Yeah.
Brings it all the way back around.
Willie was a really nice speed piece for the Bears and what they had. And, if you had more consistent performance from the other two receivers, Worthy could be a much more dangerous weapon, I think.
Corey, it was nice to talk to you on a Monday where the Titans won a football game that was not literally handed to them by the other team. It's been a long time since we've done that.
Because they tried to hand it back.
They did.
I mean, the penalties late on the defense just win. Now, last week I could not say that. But, gosh, if they complete that pass to Chim Dike in the first half and don't throw that first half pick, they can win this game going away. But they held on for dear life. They made the plays when they had to. They scored 17 points off 3 turnovers.
Yeah. Opportunistic.
So, they finished. They put the ball in the end zone. It's amazing what happens when you put the ball in the end zone. Both quarterbacks, by the way, they were short touchdown throws, but they were nice throws.
Yeah.
The ball to DK is a really good ball. All right. And even though it was 1 yard, the ball from Sanders to, was it Njoku?
Yes.
It was a nice ball. It was spot on. Like the Caleb Williams to Zacchaeus in the Bears Packers game. That pass was unreal.
Yeah.
It was stupid, but it was unreal.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Cory, thank you, sir, for taking time to be with us this morning. We will talk to you next week, and we'll see if the Titans can make it 2 in a row.
I understand you enjoyed it. I don't blame you. I'm a wonderful guest, and I will be here next week.
That sounds good. Cory Curtis, brought to you by Tennessee Men's Clinic. Every Monday morning at 8 o'clock here on the program. Titans win 31-29. Your reaction coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. I got some tickets to give away. Pair of tickets to the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl at Nissan Stadium coming up on Tuesday, December the 30th. Tennessee taking on Illinois. Be caller number 5, 615-737-1025. Caller 5 will win a pair of tickets to the Liberty Mutual Music City Bowl, Tennessee and Illinois coming up. By the way, we will have Scott Ramsey on tomorrow to discuss that, the Nashville Sports Council and the Vols back in Music City. So we'll see what that game looks like. And, last time Brett Bielema was in a bowl game, Joe, the opposing coach tried to fight him. So we'll see if Heupel does that at Nissan Stadium as well.
Bielema, Heupel, that's a little bit more weight class against weight class.
I agree.
That would be a little bit more of a fair fight. Poor little Shane would have been
driven into the earth like Shedeur Sanders was by Devondre Sweat yesterday.
Well, that's it. That is true. Yeah. Tennessee, Illinois. What's the excitement level? I mean, we can get into this more this week, of course, but the Tennessee, Illinois Music City Bowl for Vols fans, and then for Vanderbilt fans, the Relia quest against Iowa.
Can we outlaw local teams from playing Iowa? Can we sign some sort of petition? I mean, if Notre Dame could just up and decide they don't want to play in the bowl game, can we not, as a society, up and decide we're not playing against Iowa?
Or just Iowa's just not allowed to play at all?
Yeah.
Just ban them? Yeah. I will say that obviously Iowa, hard to watch on offense. They're maybe slightly better this year, but they are very good on defense. They're excellent always on defense. So this will be at least like a chance to, to see Vanderbilt's offense against a legit D. I mean, so from that perspective, I think it's interesting, but yeah, still just kind of cringe when you say Iowa.
We'll see how legit they are. I mean, I was told that one time. Then I watched Nico Iamaleava look like Mike Vick out there. So we'll see. See how it goes.
That's true. That is true.
Vanderbilt favored in the game by 2.5, by the way. So there you go.
2.5.
2.5.
That's disrespect to Vanderbilt.
I agree. Titans win 31-29 against the Cleveland Browns yesterday. Joe, that stat that I threw out there to Cory last segment, pretty incredible. A pass rush win rate, say that 5 times fast, of 4% for Myles Garrett in the game, which is the second lowest mark of his career. And it came against the Mandor, Latham, and this Tennessee Titans offensive line. Joe, in the list of surprises of what we saw yesterday, where does that one rank?
Yeah, well, it's one of those things, like if you told me that stat, like that this would be the stat, or if I didn't watch the game, then I'd be like, okay, so let me actually see it. How many times? And look, it's not like I've broken down the film, but to me, you're double. I mean, everybody doubles him. Like it hasn't stopped him from doing what he's done and wrecking games, right? So, but I do think that the game plan and the effectiveness of the plan working is what this is all about. It's running at him. And then, sometimes they would boot or they would just roll away from him. Again, teams all try to do that though. I think it's just the fact that Pollard had the game he had.
Yeah.
And just the running game was all of a sudden out of nowhere great. It's probably the biggest. It's not like I can come away from that game and say, man, Dan Moore, holy cow, we were wrong about that guy, But you got to give credit to all of them who teamed up to block him. I mean, it's probably like Cory said, this is one of those games where if you're him, I mean, what were you all talking about? I'm sure they were talking about it in Cleveland all week. He can get the record in this game, like it's not just like he can get a sack or two, which is, I mean, if you get a sack or two in the NFL every week, you're going to end up with, you're going to be in the 20s. You're going to set the record. This is like, no, he can get 4 sacks this week. He can set the record. So if you're him, you probably thought it was just like, you're just going to all day just tear in there and have a field day. And again, they hit him in the mouth.
It did kind of look like.
I give credit to Mike McCoy.
It did kind of look like Cleveland was just kind of expecting the Titans to roll over and not play hard at all. And it didn't really turn out that way. Both teams really, Cleveland in particular, I felt on defense lacked some juice.
Yeah. Yeah, Grant Delpit getting thrown around like a rag doll by the Tennessee Titans quarterback.
I just thought it was a heck of a coach game by Mike McCoy.
I'm surprised they didn't call that in the grasp. I am blow that
kind of too. Yeah.
You see that, you blow that play dead, considering, but hey, it's like Steve McNair in the Super Bowl.
The greatest incompletion of all time,
right.
maybe. Good stuff from Cam Ward yesterday. I mean, I think it was Schlereth on the broadcast. I mean, he couldn't get enough of it yesterday.
Yeah, they replayed that like 20 times.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, it was pretty impressive.
It was.
But I agree. That play definitely is called in the grasp, like probably more times than not. By the time he shrugged him
Especially
off.
when it's the quarterback.
Yeah. By the way, I do want to correct myself real quick before we continue the conversation coming up on the Titans and the Browns. I looked at the wrong column here, Joe. It's actually 4.5 point favorite for Vanderbilt against Iowa, so not as disrespectful.
Okay. That's a little better, but honestly, like to me, like they should be like 7.5 point favorites, but we'll see.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Titans get the win. They score in the 30s. They limit Myles Garrett to 1 sack and 1 pressure. We'll take it any way you want to take it on the game yesterday. 615-737-1025. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 the game. Join Chase and Big Joe today from noon to 3 at Duncan, located at 4930 Thoroughbred Lane in Brentwood. You can stop by with a stuffed toy and donate it to a child this holiday season. 1025 The Game's teamed up with Nashville Children's Alliance to give all these awesome stuffed toys donated by you. Just for stopping by, you'll be qualified for a 4-pack of tickets in the all-inclusive 501 Club at Bridgestone Arena to a Preds home game. We'd also like to thank the Nashville Police Department, Metro Nashville Police Department, the Catalano Group, the Bluemont Group, Family Leisure, Thompson Machinery, Richmar Florist, Right Time HVAC, and Ready Lane for their involvement in all this as well. For more information and a list of Duncan locations that you can donate a stuffed toy, visit thegamenashville.com/toy. Taking your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025, our phone number, 615-737-1025. They win 31-29 against the Browns. Joe, that does knock them to, at the moment, according to tankathon.com, to third in the draft order. The Giants at 2-11, Vegas at 2-11, Titans at 2-11. People have asked about the head-to-head between the Raiders and the Titans. I believe strength of schedule is the first tiebreaker when it comes to determining the draft order, and then head-to-head.
And that's even. And I was wondering if it was more than two teams, but it is, even if it's just two teams. That is it. That is strength of schedule is the first tiebreaker. Head-to-head is after that. So essentially, they have to have a worse record to have a higher pick than those two teams. They play each other. So unless it's a 0-0 tie, which would be fitting, one of them will get a win there. Will the loser of that game, probably the Raiders, get a win anywhere else? Whew. I don't know, man.
It's looking rough.
Yeah, I mean, it's the NFL, so sure, could happen, but yeah.
We were having a conversation last week about, are the Titans one of the worst teams in the history of the league? And then they just rolled out there and scored 31-1. So things can change very quickly.
That's right. They are no longer in the running for that discussion.
That is true. That is true. Dennis throwing the question out there, Joe. Heading into the last month of the season, has your ceiling for Cam Ward changed from what you thought before the year? Mine hasn't, but my feeling of how long it's going to take to get there has. This is from Dennis on the text line. Joe, what do you think of that?
Well, I'm locked out of the text line again.
Nice.
But I would ask Dennis, I guess I'd follow up, first of all, with Dennis. What do you think what is your ceiling for him? For me, the ceiling for him, has it changed? No, I mean, I would not have drafted him. I did not think, and I do not think that he's going to end up being like a great top of the league quarterback. I still think he can be a good quarterback and a quarterback you can win with. So that's probably, so for me, the answer is probably it really hasn't changed that much. I mean, I don't really feel markedly worse about him based on this season. Now, if someone thought he was going to come in and set the world on fire, then maybe you do feel markedly worse, or maybe you thought his ceiling was. And again, I don't know, man. Like, okay, in 3 years, is he a top 5 quarterback in the NFL? Is that impossible? No, but my personal answer to that would be it hasn't changed.
No, I'm kind of with you. I mean, I will say he has missed on some more open throws than I thought. And, we were concerned about that heading into all this, but he's missing some pretty much every week. And that to me is a problem. Like, you gotta not do that at some point. And even yesterday, he missed on a couple of throws.
It was the DK one this week
just
in
wide
particular.
Open. And you can't miss that. So, to your point, am I just convinced that Cam Ward's never going to be any good and they're never going to win with him? No, I'm not convinced of that. But I thought drafting him where they drafted him was a stretch to begin with. And I think that it's going to require him to improve a lot over the next few years to get to the point where you look at him and you're like, yeah, that's like a top 8 quarterback in the league right there. And, we've talked about this before, Joe. You don't necessarily have to have a top 8 quarterback in the league to win and win at a high level. I think we would all agree that, not to bring up Ryan Tannehill again today for like the third time, but I mean, Tannehill was not a top 8 quarterback in the league. Now, he had some stretches where he played like it, and that's what you need. You need to get yourself a team around him where it's possible to have those stretches where you can play like that.
Can Cam Ward be quote unquote, a franchise quarterback. Well, if that means can he get the second deal and play through that deal and be your long-term answer? Yes. And I'll look at let's take another team today, feeling pretty good about itself, doing pretty well, not putting everything on its quarterback, but he's playing pretty well, and they might win their division. That's the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep.
Again, how many Jags fans are just gaga about Trevor Lawrence? Probably very few. And I'm sure some Jags fans are still like, I wish we could do something else. But you know what? You might win the division. And that team, I mean, I got to say, we were giving the Colts their flowers. And I'm with Cory, like the Texans defense, they're dangerous right now. But the Jags are pretty good, man.
They are.
I think Liam Cohen was a pretty good hire, and they've got some good players on both sides of the ball. And again, he is playing well. He's playing winning football. That's obviously you want more than that, but like just getting to that, how different would everything be for the Titans fan? And that is possible. That is on the table if you have a competent front office.
Well, and you hire a 9-year-old to be your general manager, and sometimes good things can happen that way. And as somebody pointed out on the text line earlier, like Borgonzi, the moment he leaves Kansas City, the Chiefs just fall apart. They're not even going to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, maybe. How about that? And yeah, I guess I'm never going to stop making fun of.
They could win 5 Super Bowls. I'd still make fun of them.
But, sometimes I guess, hiring the young whiz kid can pay off.
By the way, Liam Cohen now up to number 2 in the odds for the NFL Coach of the Year. Vrabel is the runaway favorite at -175. Cohen at number 2 at +650 on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Mike McDonald 3, Ben Johnson 4, and Kyle Shanahan at number 5.
Yeah, I think if Ben Johnson wins yesterday against your beloved Packers, he's probably like right there. But no, Bears going one day from the 1 seed to the 7 seed.
It's kind of wild.
So it's gonna be a hell of a race for the playoff spots in the NFC. Yeah, I feel like Vrabel. Yeah, if they win the division, I feel like even if they don't get the number 1 seed, if they win the division, I think he's got that on lock.
Any big takeaways from the Ward versus Sanders conversation yesterday? We've had a lot of people talk about it. A lot of Titans fans text in and say, it's kind of concerning that Shedeur Sanders looked that much better than Cam Ward did yesterday. As Cory pointed out, you have to bring this up in the conversation. I mean, Sanders did throw for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, had a brutal pick in the game. He was going up against the Titans defense. The Titans defense and the Browns defense, at least what they've been to this point this year, 2 very different things. But what do you make of the Sanders versus Ward discourse in the aftermath of that one yesterday?
Yeah, look, like Cory laid it out well with, one of them's going up against a great defense on the road. It didn't look like a great defense because they let Tony Pollard look like Derrick Henry, just hitting home runs. But that is a very good defense. And again, the run game did a lot of the lifting for the Titans. And so it is a different game. The other side, Shedeur Sanders is playing against a team with, no corners. I mean, that like honestly, I know Marcus Harris forced a fumble yesterday, but the Titans corner group right now would have to be probably as weak as any in the league or very close to it. And I'm not trying to diminish. I like Shedeur Sanders. I hope anybody who was mocking me on including Kaharski with all his BS watched yesterday. I mean, he had an eyeful of it in the press box. The kid can play. I don't know if he's going to end up being a good player or if he's going to be a long-term starter. The negative plays sometimes that he invites are like, dude, you cannot keep doing that stuff. And the pick he threw was terrible. But how many throws did he make yesterday? Like, dang, like that was a really good throw. I think he made 4 or 5 where I was like, that's just a big time throw. He's very accurate. So good for him. But to me, it doesn't even really belong. Like I understand they were compared during the draft process because we always have to have some draft comparison. Like this year, I guess it'll be Mendoza and who's going to be the foil to Mendoza as we head into the draft. I honestly don't even know.
The Oregon kid,
maybe Dante Moore, But then, if he comes out and has an awful game against Texas Tech, who knows? I mean, Ty Simpson was supposed to be that guy 3 weeks ago, right? But anyway, I just at this point, it's just one of those things that really doesn't matter too much. It's totally different situations for both of them in the game yesterday. And one of them is going to have a long runway to prove he can do this. And Shedeur, I mean, I have no idea. I think the Browns, they're not going to be at the top of the draft, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to try to move up and grab somebody, which is, of course, if you're the Titans, well, you'd love to have that top pick and have the Browns make a dumb trade with you.
I am really interested to see what they do because, I mean, first off, that's another team that's going to be, at the moment, right behind the Titans in the draft order that could need a quarterback. And let's say the Titans do weasel their way back into the number 1 overall pick. Like, it would be good for them, along with the Jets, along with whatever team you want to throw in there, if the Browns decided that they needed a quarterback in this draft. I'm interested to see if that happens, though. I mean, on the one hand, you've got Deshaun Watson practicing again. So I guess he's got another year on his deal. So I guess that's an option for him.
He is making a lot of money.
He is making a lot of money.
In case no one's mentioned that.
Dylan Gabriel, I guess, still an option to start some games the rest of the year for the Browns. And you have Shedeur, who, has not been perfect. It's not like he's been great, but he's been pretty good so far with the Browns. So, like, if it were me, I'd probably start Shedeur the rest of the way and see if you can get more of a feel of what you've got there. And then hopefully, like, he makes it a legitimate decision for them at the end of the year as to what they're going to do at quarterback.
If Kevin Stefanski goes back to Dylan Gabriel after yesterday, fire him, and Titans don't hire him. That's idiotic.
I agree.
Dylan Gabriel, dude, he's not going to be a starter in the NFL. Shedeur Sanders may not be either. There's absolutely more ceiling there with Shedeur Sanders, and possibly interest from elsewhere too. Like, keep putting him out there. I find that to be. I mean, I understand all the stuff about the draft and everything and whatever. The GM did this. But like at this point, if you're Kevin Stefanski, like, what would you be doing? What would be the benefit of switching back? Not to mention, like, if you want to make sure that all Cleveland Browns fans hate you, do that. Like, no one wants to see that, man. Hey,
Dylan Gabriel's thrown 7 touchdowns and 2 picks. You put some respect on his name. Never mind the fact that he's like 5'9" and he's completed 59.5% of his passes.
Yeah, all due respect, okay? All due respect to the guy I'm disrespecting, Dylan Gabriel. No, sit down. I seriously, I hope that was just like coach speak in the heat of the moment after one of the dumbest 2-point conversions I've ever seen, where he takes the quarterback off the field. I really do.
That was good stuff. 615-737-1025, our phone number. Final thoughts on the Titans' 31-29 win against the Cleveland Browns. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Starting on Thursday between noon and 3, Chase and Big Joe will have your chance to win a $100 Moments Peace Salon and Day Spa gift card and qualify to win a $1,000 Genesis Diamonds gift card as well. It's the 12 Days of Christmas on 102.5 The Game. Titans win 31-29. Taking your thoughts on the second win of the year for the Tennessee Titans yesterday. Tony Pollard, 25 carries, 161 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns for the Titans. He had a 65-yarder. Had a 32-yarder in the game. Titans only threw for 117 yards yesterday and still put up 31 points. Yeah, Joe, I think Cory hit on something there that we're going to find out, and I think I know how most Titans fans would probably lean with this answer, but we'll see. Was yesterday just a complete anomaly, like a total fluke by the Titans, or have they actually maybe found something here? Not that they're going to go on some run and win every game the rest of the year, but, I mean, you're a week removed, Joe, from them playing one of the worst games we've seen them play, being totally non-competitive against Jacksonville, and, frankly, looking for a lot of the game like they would have rather been anywhere else. And then yesterday, it was kind of the complete opposite of that. So I do wonder what that looks like against a much more talented team in San Francisco coming up this weekend.
Yeah, I think so much of this is teams don't quit. Teams don't tank. Certainly, like players, coaches, they do not tank, okay? They don't quit. But when you get to December, if you're a team that really isn't playing for much and the other team is trying to run the football at you, is there a little bit less, like Ian said, did Cleveland looked like they had a lot of juice yesterday, you know? I mean, that's to me, it's like when you play teams like that, I mean, I don't know, the Saints just beat the Bucks on the road, so who knows? But so I think, you know, some of this, like running the football, is something that I thought they would actually have a chance to do pretty well this year. It has not worked out that way. It did in this game. But when you play a team like the Niners, I mean, the Niners are in an absolute battle to get into the playoffs. So it's probably going to look a little different. But I'd keep trying, because running game is one of the quarterback's best friends. And so you keep trying to do that, and you hope you can get some play action off it. And again, like Cory said, you know, Cam Ward didn't have great numbers, and he didn't have a great game. He did make some really good throws, and I think particularly in the red zone. You got both of those young receivers got a TD. So you can try to build on some of that stuff and see if you can carry it forward. And obviously, you have your own game wrecker. I mean, he was the biggest game wrecker on the field yesterday. Was 98 for the Titans, not 95 for the Browns.
Joe, let's do something we've not had a chance to do yet, and who knows, may never have a chance to do again. Let's hear just a snippet of Mike McCoy's victory speech for the Tennessee Titans yesterday.
Don't ever forget this feeling. We've been through the ups and downs the entire year, okay? But I'll just say this. We said it was going to be a physical game, right? Most team rushing yards since 2022. Oh, my God. A career high by Tony. 25 carries, 161. First blocked punt since 2012.
Titans are fired up in there, Joe, including apparently some absolute shock that the running game was as productive as it was yesterday.
I seriously – okay, so I saw the video. They showed it. I need to know who was like, oh, my God. I got to know who that was.
We ran for how many yards?
Was that Simmons? Oh, my God.
Simmons out there just giving J.C. Latham a hug. In the, you know, I've been hard on you, kid, but good job yesterday.
Oh, man. I got to say, you got to, like, if you're a fan, and you know what, I guess I thought maybe there'd be a little bit more, oh, my God, they screwed themselves on the draft front today.
We're getting more of that as the show goes along.
Yeah, but like, step back, and you got to feel kind of good for those guys to, like, at least, like, not have to spend the aftermath of a Sunday saying the same stuff over and over again about how frustrated they are, you know? Yeah. Like, to those guys, this is huge, fast, strong men smashing into each other for 3 hours every Sunday. Like, yeah, a win is a big deal to those guys. So you got to feel good for them.
Well, and by the way, like, you know, I know they don't ask you how you do it in the NFL. They just ask you how many you win, and they have won a game prior to that this year. But we all know what happened in the Arizona game. Like, I mean, it was all-time stuff that gave you that game. So for them to also go out there and actually win the football game, like just win it, that's a good thing. I mean, I understand you're worried about the draft. And again, the Titans still very well can end up with the number 1 overall pick here. So we'll see. I wouldn't panic about that yet. But boy, it's a refreshing change of pace, I think, for them in that locker room.
Yeah, no question about it. So, at this point, and of course you want to be as high in the draft as possible, but I could see them winning 1 or 2 more. I think it's possible.
No, the Chad is convinced, by the way, that the oh my God was Trey in the locker room there, the caller Trey.
Love you.
Cam, you sounded good today.
Oh my God!
Was he? Yeah. Did he have his hands over his eyes so he could only hear what was going on?
Tony, pretty light with your steps today. It was good. Keep it up.
I heard that move you made. That was really good. Why are people getting after Trey? And why didn't Trey call today? No call from Trey today.
He did call actually right before Cory Curtis called in.
Okay.
Trey had something about the college football playoff committee and how it was a sham.
Okay.
So,
all right.
So the Titans get a win, and Trey's like, I don't want to talk about the Titans anymore. Let's talk about the playoff committee. Come on, Trey. It's a victory Monday, buddy. Get excited.
Joe, it's a big win for the Titans. Congratulations to Titans fans today, particularly those of you who have sat at Nissan Stadium all year. Now, maybe the next step is, before the end of the year, maybe they can win a home game. That'd be nice at some point. We'll see what
Saints
that looks
coming
like.
in, right?
That's true. That is true. Joe,
Probably
we'll
not.
get into more of this throughout the week on the college football front. But my message to you today is just pretty simple. You better enjoy every last second of watching James Madison and Tulane in the playoff. Don't you dare change that channel early. You better watch every last snap.
Well, we're having my grandma's celebration of life at that exact moment, but hey, that's cool. We'll just dismiss that.
How did you have to do that to me? That is not fair.
I mean, that is true. But I will DVR them, and I will watch every single freaking snap just for you.
Good. I hope so. You no longer have to do it live. And we end the show with me feeling very badly about myself. That does it for us today.
Go Dukes.
Here on the program. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.